All right, so just a quick recap. What I was talking about is that the movie is about a relationship between the therapist and the client, and that the therapist is exploring the mental world that she's discovering in the man's life. And so as the conversation takes from the job into the past, and each past, the way the movie is depicting it is one room to another room. In each room, it connects to it's a memory of something, and connects to another memory, and that connects it to other memories, right? It's a web of memories all interconnected. And so each room, there is things that happen that certain thing makes sense, but certain other thing is it's a memory. So it's sometimes the memories are not as accurate as if you're photographing it or videographing it, but it's a memory of what you remember is talking about. And so I think the therapist exploring his mental world, and finally it gets to the heart of the issue where the man was in his room, and I think the issue was here the client is coming to see a therapist, but he really doesn't want to change. And so that's how I interpret it. But why is she also in a room with another man? That I think she also realized that when you encounter with in a therapy, right, with a client, sometimes the client mirrors his life about her past, and she's also exploring her past experiences, that she also needed a therapist. So towards the end, the guy with the white coat, I think that symbolizes another therapist is also helping her to process some of the things, some trauma that she experienced, particularly like in her relationship with her mother. And so, so the back door.
Okay, I was confused about that because I remember there were some scenes going back and forth between, like, was it her when she was younger?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't really understand that.
So that was, I think, it's really what actually happened. So even the therapist has some trauma from the past. We don't fully understand what that is, but there is some glimpse of some memories that she remembered about her relationship with her mother. Being in the room, she couldn't get out, and there's another scene that the daughter was visiting a mother in a mental health institution, that she was institutionalized, and visiting her. So there are some memories that she remembered, but I don't think she fully understands those experiences, that what she remembered when she was a child. And so she too has this mental world that she's also exploring with the client, but ultimately at the end, that she also, even though she's a doctor and she's a psychologist, but she too needed a help. So there's another man is also exploring her world, trying to help her out and make some sense out of it.
Yeah. What do you think the ending of the movie means? Because we saw that last scene with, it was like the distorted version of her in the back rooms.
Yeah, I think the distorted faces in the movie, whether the Clark's world and all this mental picture of the other people in his life, his view of them, the way he understood it, I think is distorted. Equally, I think the therapist, her memory in the past, and the key memories, key people, how she remembered them, has some images of them, what she remembered, but what she remembered is not really close to clear. I think there's some distortion, because when you're a child, when you look at things, it looks very different than when you go back in the same, let's say, scene and look at the same thing, and you realize that, oh wow, this place used to be really big, but right now I'm looking at it as an adult, it looks a lot smaller, right? And so what she remembered, I think there's a lot of distortion there, that the man at the end trying to help her out, sorting out and bringing some clarity into the distorted images or understanding from the past.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how I kind of interpreting it. I don't think it has to do with a sci-fi, or I thought it was gonna be sci-fi or some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Some kind of supernatural, some anomaly that they found, that like teleporting someone to another dimension. I don't think it's about that.
Actually about that?
No, I don't think it was about that. I think it was about exploring and mapping out other people's lives and their mental world, and especially their past. Is the way I kind of took it.
And from like the counseling perspective, what do you think as far as like, what would you do if you met someone like Clark, I guess?
Well, I mean, so it's a conversation, and in the conversation that we talk about what happened, but the way they would describe what happened, it's not exactly the same thing as if like somebody recorded during that time. So recording of like for example, we're driving right now, and let's say we're recording this drive, and what was recorded, and let's say we put aside, and when we get home, if I ask you describe me the experience of this drive to home, your description is not going to mirror exactly the way what it was recorded.
Yeah.
There is a human interpretation. There's a human the feel. You're not going to capture exactly the way that the video has been recorded. And so when we do counseling, there is a conversation about how they're interpreting the past. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's 100% accurate, but it's what they remember to be accurate. And so there is some distortion. It's not true 100% historical accuracy. There is some that a little bit of a lack of clarity exactly at how you remember as if you're recording something, but your brain remembers certain things about it. But that's the thing, it's certain things about it, but not everything.
Yeah. I also think that like, doesn't your brain remember more traumatic experience than good ones? Like, I think there's a word for that. But like, our brains naturally cling on to like negative experiences. Those are like the experiences that shape us.
So I think we would remember certain things when we are emotionally heightened, right? That out of all the things, certain things stands out. But equally also when it's very traumatic, we forget things too.
On purpose, do you think?
No, we have amnesia. And so now purposely, I'm gonna forget it, we forget it. But I think the brain has a way of protecting itself from trauma because emotion is so overwhelming that brain knows how to block it out some memories, and you just don't remember until later on the memory resurfaces. And when it resurfaces, it doesn't quite resurface in a way that, once again, the way that the video camera has been captured, but what you remember, and that there's some distortion that comes with it. And so therapist's job is to, what was distorted, undistort much he or she can, but bring some kind of a better understanding. Not necessarily trying to reconstruct the actual what happened, but a healthier interpretation of what happened. And so, so I thought in my mind when I watched this movie, it was not about, again, someone who's teleporting from one room to another room to another, some sci-fi kind of journey. I think once he stepped into through the wall, he is exploring his past memories, and he's looking at it. And when you go back and when you talk about certain memories, initially it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
It looks like there are a lot of random things are sitting in there until you go in and, I guess, sort it out, clarify the distortion, and make better sense of it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So the movie director, I'm wondering,
If
how
he meant that.
whether that's what he meant that or not. I'm not sure. Or if it kind of meant that, then I wonder whether he has some experience in counseling, working through his issue, and the way that he want to talk about that part of that experience that maybe people can't connect through the videos.
Yeah.
Is that through the back rooms.
Yeah. I don't know too much about the director, just that he's young and he's been this has been like a big project. I mean, he started working on it when he was like 16 on Blender.
Okay.
But now I really want to like get into a deep dive and like watch interviews and stuff, because I think it'd be pretty interesting to see.
I think maybe the movie make better sense as director talk more about what this meant to be. When we learn more about the director's intent, maybe that would help us to clarify the meaning behind what we have seen.
Yeah.
But again, that's without his context.
But he also did say, or, like I heard him say, like in an interview, that he wanted it to be like the ending, at least, to be like open interpretation. But I mean, that's not to say that he doesn't have his own like opinion or bias on what it means to him. But
I think he may have designed the movie in a way that people could walk away a different understanding about this movie.
yeah, because you and I, we had like totally different, like, I don't know, I kind of just went into a movie just to watch a movie. I did hear this one, I don't know who said it, but it went something like, the backrooms is just like how AI works, and how it just creates things based upon like the images they see on the web.
Okay.
And I don't even, there's this other guy too, his name is Alex O'Connor, shout out to anyone if you know him, but he asked ChatGPT to create an image of a glass full of wine. AI or ChatGPT couldn't do that because all the images online only had them like halfway, or you know, just a little bit. And so I don't know, I think it's just pretty interesting how AI works. But
so if she used the AI to cut down the cost, because I mean what we see on the screen is not 3-dimensional, it's 2-dimensional. And so you know, who's gonna have time, energy, and money to create a rooms that we have seen? Or it could be the same room, one big room, but inside the room it has they're just constantly re-innovating it from one scene to another scene, and they're shooting the film that way too.
yeah, I'm not sure if they used any AI in the film. I think it was all, my understanding, I think it's all practical, so like real like sets, and then obviously like a lot of like special effects digitally. But yeah, pretty good movie.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting.
Very interesting. What would you rate it?
I'm not sure. This I don't have nothing to compare with, and so it seems like it has its own, almost its own category. So I'm not sure. I want to say somewhere between 3 to 5.
Out of
5 as a maximum, somewhere in there. But I have to chew on that. I like to compare things, and I like to put it in the picking orders. Wow, that was really exciting, and cannot find something that would supersede that movie. But this one, I have nothing to compare with. So it's somewhere 3 to 5.
Just by itself, though. Taking into account, I guess, like the storyline, the plot, the meaning, and the metaphor, like how you were explaining the characters.
So cinematography or the movie quality, I would rate it more lower end. But the meaning, yeah, in that perspective, I wasn't too impressed. But in terms of the background, what it represents, in the mental picture or mental memory of a person between a therapist and a client, I thought that was well done. That's very cleverly done to explain what's going on in a visual way. And that I think I would rate a 5. I think to me that made a lot of sense to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else to compare with. Once again, this is kind of on its own.
Yeah.
Own category.
It's interesting because I've never seen like I don't think I've ever seen a real horror movie, and this is considered horror sci-fi. Because I mean, that's just not my genre to watch. But I think the cinematography or the color grading was good. I like how they switched between like the fuzzy old VHS tape and then like the regular, like normal.
Oh, okay.
That was fun.
Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention. I saw it, I remember. But okay, that's a old cassettes, old monitors. So I don't know where he scoured those kind of old tech to put it together.
eBay.
But probably eBay, you're right. But in terms of what was that back room about? I think it was about between the therapist and the client, because there was an actual setting having counseling, and I think is taking us in that session exploring his mental world, and somewhere in his mental world there was a place where he was struggling with that she realized that this client is not wanting to change. And then outcome of it, I think she also realized that she also had some deeply seated issues from the past, hasn't quite resolved, that she needed also help as well. And so towards the end, a man with white clothes, looks like a dentist or something, but he comes in and asking questions and so forth. It felt like he too was some sort of a therapist trying to help a therapist and help her out dealing with her past. So there's a little bit of a perpetual a need of exploring and making sense of the life that they lived, and where they're at in the moment, at the present time, and trying to find ways to move forward. But Clark didn't sound like he wanted to move forward. I think he was happy the way it was. But therapists, we don't know, because it didn't give us more materials to think on, because it ended at the end the way it ended. So all right,
well, that's all for today. Thanks for yapping with us. See you guys in another video, I guess. Bye.